He had just returned from hell. Not a metaphorical hell, but the literal abyss, a journey that had dragged his already tattered soul through unimaginable torment. Logan, the Wolverine, stood on a remote, rain-slicked cliff edge, the wind whipping at his tattered clothes, a silhouette against the churning sky. His mind was a maelstrom of fragmented memories and agonizing whispers from the dark places he had just escaped. He was seeking a moment of desolate quiet, a space to simply be before the world inevitably demanded more of him. But peace, as it always did, proved to be an elusive dream for James Howlett. From the swirling mist, they emerged. Not one, not two, but a dozen figures, silent as wraiths, moving with a predatory grace that sent a shiver down his spine, a sensation he rarely experienced. They were young, agile, and their eyes, even through the gloom, held a chilling, unyielding focus. These were not mere thugs. They were skilled, disciplined, and utterly ruthless. They were the mongrels, and they had come to kill him. Wolverine, still reeling from his infernal ordeal, instinctively transitioned from a haunted man to a primal force of survival. His claws, as familiar as his own heartbeat, extended with a whisper of steel. He didn't know who they were, only that they moved with the lethal precision of trained assassins. Their fighting style was eerily familiar in its raw, animalistic ferocity, yet it was also distinct, blending various combat forms into a brutal symphony. They attacked as one, a coordinated wave of fists, feet, and bladed weapons. The battle that ensued was a whirlwind of motion and pain. Logan fought with the ferocity of a cornered animal, his healing factor working overtime against the relentless onslaught. Each swing of his adamantium claws was precise, brutal, and aimed to neutralize. He didn't seek to kill, not at first, but these opponents left him no choice. They were fighting to the death, and they were trying to ensure it was his. He noticed small things in the chaotic dance of death, a particular stance, a flicker of an eye, a certain tenacity that tugged at something deep within his memory, something he couldn't quite place. But in the heat of battle, survival overrides sentiment, and these fleeting observations were dismissed as the tricks of a well-trained enemy. One of them, a woman with startling speed, lunged for his throat. He parried, twisting her arm with a sickening crack, then swept her legs out from under her. She fell, striking her head on a jagged rock. He didn't linger. Another assailant was already closing in. He fought through them, one by one, a living, breathing weapon forged in a crucible of violence, pushing back against the tide of assailants. Each strike, each block, each deadly riposte was a testament to his unmatched combat prowess, honed over more than a century of endless conflict. He was battered, bleeding, but he was winning. As the last of them fell, silenced and broken, the rain intensified, washing over the scene like a mournful curtain. Wolverine stood amidst the fallen, breathing heavily, his body aching but his mind still sharp. The immediate threat was gone. It was then, in the eerie calm that followed the storm of violence, that the true horror began to unfold. He knelt beside one of the fallen, a young man whose face was partially obscured by shadow and a mask. Reaching out a weary hand, Logan gently moved the mask aside. And then he saw it. A faint scar above the eyebrow, a certain cast to the jawline, a familiar intensity in the now vacant eyes. He moved to another, a young woman, and saw the same uncanny resemblance, the same shape of the nose, the same stubborn set to the mouth. He checked another, then another. A gut-wrenching realization began to claw its way up his throat, choking him. These were not just skilled assassins. These were his children. Illegitimate, born from forgotten encounters and distant memories, scattered across a lifetime of wandering, unknowingly brought together and twisted into weapons. His own son, Dakin, had masterminded this cruelty. He had found them, brainwashed them, and forged them into the Mongrels, a team of assassins for the Red Right Hand, all with one purpose:
to make Logan kill his own blood. The revelation hit him like a physical blow, worse than any he had endured in hell itself. He had fought them with every ounce of his lethal experience, not knowing. He had slaughtered his own children, driven by instinct and survival, only to discover their true identity in the aftermath of the carnage. The very hands that had protected so many had been used to extinguish the lives of his own offspring. The raw agony of it was almost unbearable. This was not a wound that his healing factor could ever repair. It was a scar on his very soul, a devastating testament to the sins of the father being visited upon the children. His violent life, his nomadic existence, had not only left a trail of destruction, but had inadvertently created these very lives, only for him to be manipulated into ending them. This was not just another battle, it was a personal apocalypse. It was a tragic, brutal culmination of a lifetime of violence, a reminder that even when trying to do good, the past can reach out and twist everything into a new form of torment. Wolverine, a man who had faced down gods and monsters, was left utterly broken by the knowledge that he had murdered his own legacy, unknowing until it was too late. It was a wound that would fester, a memory that would haunt him, an indelible mark on a life already overflowing with pain. The story of Wolverine is often one of endurance, of a relentless fight against external threats. But sometimes the greatest tragedies are born from within, from the echoes of past choices and the cruel manipulations of those closest to us. The day he slaughtered his own blood stands as one of the most agonizing chapters in a life defined by struggle and sacrifice. What are your thoughts on this profound tragedy? How do you think such a revelation would shape a character like Wolverine in the long run? Share your reflections in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more tales from the complex and often heart-wrenching world of our favorite heroes. Until next time, take care.